Greetings traders, this is Houston Trung from thetradingedge.org, and here is your market watch for May the 10th to the 14th, 2021. Hope you had a good trading week. The markets continue to do what they've been doing for the past several weeks. That's basically to grind higher. We saw the SPY in the Dow log some all-time highs, but as I mentioned last week as a possibility, we did get a reversal on a couple of indices. So namely, the Qs and the Russell did get a bit of a pullback, but by end of the week, we did see some buyers step up there. So the question is, and we'll get to the charts in a few moments, what's it going to look like for the buyers to step back in there and to take things back higher again? What is going to be required to repair some of those charts? Okay, so we do have the Qs and the Russell looking kind of weak right now, but the SPY and Dow looking very strong. Now, speaking of strong, the digital asset space is on fire, and I say digital assets, that means the crypto space. So Bitcoin, Ethereum, and the rest of the coins. They are in a raging bull market, and it's really fun to trade markets like that, right? Because when you're in a raging bull market, you don't have to guess about direction. So it's pretty clear right now that the crypto market is in a strong uptrend. So as traders, it's just a matter of trying to find a good trade location, right? So that takes really half of the equation out of the picture. You're not trying to figure out direction. The direction is up, right? So all you have to do is look for a good trade location to get into a trade, and that basically means you're looking for opportune spots where you have good reward to risk asymmetry. We'll talk more about those some of those charts, what that looks like in a few moments here. But before we launch into the charts, let's talk about the coming week. We have a very, very busy earnings calendar, lots of companies reporting. I'm not going to go through them all, so just do your homework. Make sure that you're only carrying names that you're comfortable carrying into earnings. And in terms of the econ calendar, we have CPI on Wednesday, we got PPI and the jobless claims on Thursday. Ones to watch out for, because that's going to play into the continued narrative that people are very, very mindful of right now. That is, everyone's tracking whether or not there's actually inflation seeping into the economy or not. So that CPI number, that PPI number will help you watch for that. Even though those things aren't you could argue don't track inflation that well. That's a long story, so we're not going to get into that. And of course, jobs claims, good to watch, because that will give us a read about how hot the Fed and the government want to run the economy. So if we continue to see falling jobless claims, but the government continues to play loose with the fiscal policy, and the Fed continues to play loose with the monetary policy, then it's very, very hard to argue with, whether or not we're going to see price inflation or inflation leaking into the broader economy. So as a preface, let's launch into the charts now. Take a look at our usual list of assets. I'll throw in some additional cryptos today, because that's kind of the space that I've been focused on more for the past several weeks is the crypto space, because boy, the returns and the opportunities there are so magnified right now that it's that you really want to go where the money is, and why trade the chop of the equity side when you can focus on the crypto space, which now given the bull market has very, very good volatility with good volumes. That means you're not getting large slippage as you normally did prior to this big bull market. So let's get into our usual charts and what I'm watching this coming week. So we begin with VIX, as we always do, just to get the big picture. It is basically a Momo down situation on the VIX for several months now, right? Momo down 1, 2, 3, 4 months of lower highs and lower lows. The VIX continues to melt. We did get the outside bar on the weekly chart, because that basically means we took up both sides of the prior week's range, because the last week's bar was very, very small, very tight, right? So it wasn't going to be difficult to see that reversal, that is to break above the prior week's high. We got that early in the week, but then it faded by the end of the week, because VIX has been doing what it's always been doing. It lures in buyers, it scares weak longs out of the equity side, or people who have bad trade location, and then they basically fade back to the downside again. So you can see here, we had a small move to the upside, hit the upper end of the Bollinger Band, and they just basically profit took right there. If you were, these VIX buyers, they maybe drove it up. This day here, I think it was up maybe 1.8%, 7%, somewhere like that, and then hit that upper Bollinger Band. They faded it really hard. I think the high there was like 33, 40, yeah, what was that, 39, yeah, 42.39, and they faded it, and by the end of the week, we closed near the lows. So this coming week, we got the outside bar, right, outside bar in the week, so you want to see this coming week, what side of this outside bar does price transact? Do we go Momo down and we see more selling of the VIX? That means, you know, people are jumping more into the equity side and buying SPY, or do we see a Momo up and that's a continuation move, or do we do something in the middle? The reality is that the ranges are very tight right now. Not a lot of fun trading the VIX or for the SPY for that matter. At the end of the day, you know, here's the big picture for the 2-day chart, or the bigger picture in terms of a higher time frame. Momo up, right? Last week we mentioned that it was a Momo up situation, and then by the end of the week they just faded it. Once they broke that Momo up situation, they faded it and then went to all-time lows again. The VXX is not telling us much, just because it did do a reverse split a few weeks ago. So if we take a look here at the actual VIX index itself, we're trading, I believe, yeah, in the high teens, so 16.7% now. So we're definitely getting into a lower volatility regime once again. And, you know, you can see that this is the lowest amount of volatility since we've had since, I think it was pre-pandemic, right? So you have to go way back here. Yes, sir. Late January of 2020, pre-pandemic. So that whole pandemic move, right, as I mentioned a few weeks ago, that big fear cycle has now been, you know, faded. So all that volatility that was in the system, all that fear, they basically gave it back, and we're back to our pre-pandemic levels. So right now the market's not forecasting any kind of heightened fear or heightened greed. Right now it's just kind of a Goldilocks market, right? So let's go to SPY now and let's look at the charts there. SPY, as I mentioned already, we had all-time highs this month, early this week, excuse me, and we now have 7 months of higher highs and higher lows. So it continues to grind upward for the SPY here. Doesn't look like it's going to do a reversal anytime soon, even though we're getting into highs. But it's just choppy, right? It's very slow trading as it's grinding higher. And again, my personal opinion is it's not a lot of fun to trade, especially the earnings season right now, because there's a lot of gaps that are happening overnight because of earnings names. So it causes the market to move in a very staccato way, and that's just not my favorite markets to trade other than intraday. But you know, why trade intraday when you can just go to cryptos and you know, find things that are moving 20% or more a day? so you know, you balance that, and you take what's, you know, what markets that you're comfortable with. So in this case here, we get the opposite of the VIX. We have a outside bar to the upside to close the week, and now we're going to watch and see which side of this outside bar price breaks going into the second week of May. It is a outside bar. Do we get a Momo up move back into the Bollinger Bands again? I think it very well could go there, right? It could very well go there. We did have that, you know, that price reversal earlier in the week. We took out the prior week's low, went a little lower, but by the end of the week, even before the end of the week, buyers stepped back in again, bought it back, and hit small time highs. So on the SPY, we do have that outside bar in the week, and we do have Momo also on the daily chart. So you can see here on the daily, you know, this is a brand new month here. So this is a tricky situation here, because it was early in the week we immediately fell below the weekly and monthly open. So we opened right there on the weekly and the monthly, and immediately turned red. So this is kind of bearish, because at that point you have a red month and a red week. But as I said last week, you're gonna have a green quarter until you break way below here. So ultimately, as long as that quarter is gonna be green, you know there's gonna be some dip buyers in here, right? So long as that quarter stays green, you're gonna see dip buyers, people trying to buy that dip. And sure enough, by Tuesday, it tagged the that 20 period. And people gobbled it up, right? So they bought it back again, and by Thursday, Friday, went Momo up to basically close near all-time highs, right? So people stepped back in, and we're now trading with full time frame alignment to the upside. Very, very strong markets, because they were able to close it above the weekly and monthly open. Lots of times this weekly and monthly open will act as resistance, like it did, you know, basically on Thursday. It couldn't break above there. You can see that he had a small tag right there, and it closed below it. But on Friday, the buyers stepped up once again, and you know, they weren't going to give it up, and you know, they have now full time frame alignment to the upside. Green quarter, green week, green month. you're going into the Bollinger Bands. So, we know what the Bollinger Band walk looks like, and this is now a Bollinger Band walk. It needs to keep going. Otherwise, if you break below this past week's low, Friday's low, excuse me, you're going to fall back in below the range here again, and that's going to turn the week red and the month red. So watch out for that situation here. But for now, it's Momo up on the SPY chart, and on the 2-day chart, it's basically going inside bar up. So we had a bunch of chop here, right? Inside consolidation stuff, then popped up by the end of the week, and now we're at all-time highs in the SPY. The Qs, not as healthy looking, right? So let's head to the Qs now. And the Qs, it's still decent on the month though. So even though it's a red month, it is still an inside month. So right now, you can't overweight this past week's trading because on the monthly chart, you haven't done anything yet, right? It's still an inside bar. That's not a reversal. A reversal happens when you take out the prior bar's low. So if this thing goes and breaks below last month's low, that would be a price reversal, and that would also be significant because it would be below, see that blue line, the quarterly open. That would turn the quarter red as well. But so long as you stay inside bar like this, that is inside the prior month's range, inside bar, at some point you got to expect price to perhaps do some chopping around inside the weekly and daily charts. For now, inside month. Okay, red month though, inside month, we could get chopped there in the Qs if you can't get outside that range. This past week, we did the reversal, as I mentioned here last week, right? This is what I was saying. You do the Bollinger Band walk, you fail to do it, you fail to keep it up, you break below, you do a shooting star. So this is the hammer, shooting star. If you break below that shooting star, you're going to come in and you're going to find some sellers. That's what we had this past week. Just like the SPY, it was a weekly open and monthly open right there. And then immediately the sellers came in, so that turned the week and month red. And we did see some selling for most of the week. So that looks like this. Where the Monday and Tuesday, we saw the most of the selling happen there. Monday, right? Look, outside, inside, we were watching that, right? Outside, inside, it opens there, comes right through again, breaks through that outside, inside pattern, and now it comes in, it tests that. The 50-day period moving average, it holds. And I think we know, here's the thing, right? So you saw a very short-lived Bollinger Band walk. And I was saying, this is probably going to hold because at the very least, you're going to see buyers step up on the 50 and you're inside that Bollinger Band, right? So that green line there, there's your Bollinger Band inside day. That's where the sellers run out of steam that day. They do create a lower low, but in order to negate that, all you got to do is this, right? So this day, Friday, even though it closes week like a doji, it did break above Thursday's high. That's an inside bar reversal, and at the same time, it extinguishes the Bollinger Band walk. So we would not be surprised to see price move up a little higher now. I'm just going to redraw our ranges really quickly for the weekly chart because the range to watch this now is like this, right? So if I make it like that, there we go. If we break above this week's high, that'd be very, very bullish because then you're going to have full time frame alignment once again. Okay, so that means on the daily chart, you got to break above that purple line. The issue here, though, is that you have a red month right now. So this line here is going to extend all the way. That's going to be your monthly open. The week's going to open wherever it opens around here. You have a green quarter or a red month and wherever you open on Monday. That's called mixed time frame alignment. So it's very, very possible now that things get very, very choppy here as we get stuck in between these major time frames. This is why that inside month, if it holds, is going to be messy, and we know already this Bollinger Band was tightening, so we are loosening up a bit now. But because we did tag the lower bottom Bollinger Band, if the buyers keep stepping up, we break above that the monthly open, boom, we're going to go out the other end and tag the upper end of that Bollinger Band. We talked about last week that bottom to top Bollinger Band test, very, very likely scenario now if we can break above this monthly open. Okay, so the Q is probably the worst of the bunch. Actually, the Russell is pretty ugly too. But what's even worse than the Qs, of course, that ARK ETF, the ARK Innovation ETF, Kathy Wood's high flying ETF that had been doing so well. This is not the environment or the market cycle to be long these innovation names right now. So this thing has been hammered for the past few weeks. So let's see here now. If we take a look, it is down from top to bottom here. It's down 33+%, and on Friday we had a fairly ugly close as well. So this thing, this is not finding any buyers. I think we were seeing probably a lot of outflows coming out of it. If you look at a higher time frame chart, this is what I want to show you here. We have an inside bar and down on the month, right? So look what happened here. It was a Momo up situation, right? and then it got extinguished. The moment got extinguished here when it broke below Feb's lows. So in March, that got extinguished, and then it went down, inside bar, down, fresh lows. So why is that significant? Because that red line there, what is that? It's not just March's lows. That red line is this. Q1's lows, right? So we had a Momo up situation going on the quarterly chart. That now got extinguished with this past week's low. So that Momo situation that we had on ARKK is not extinguished. This chart needs to repair, is in bad need of being repaired. It's going to take a while to repair this chart. So for the now, this is this is not an easy trade anymore. This is no longer trending to the upside. You saw that monthly chart already. The trend broke actually back up here on the monthly chart, and the weekly chart even obviously breaks earlier. And you can see here it broke there. Momo, sorry, outside inside up, that outside bar, then it goes Momo down, right? So, no longer an easy trend. The easy trade was back here and it was just trending upwards, right? Now this is actually trending downwards, and actually, could be a little extended here now. But certainly the innovation space is not the easy space to be trading anymore, as I think we now have a new market regime. The big narrative now, of course, is the reflation trade, right? Everyone's worried about commodity prices and the rise of the rise of real interest rates. The rise of real interest rates. So that's definitely not good for the tech sector. So that's why ARKK and the Qs took it on the chin this past week. Not a great environment for these interest rate sensitive names. Okay, so there's your ARKK. Let's take a look at the Dow now, because cyclicals, which are primarily in the Dow stocks, or the Dow stocks are primarily cyclical names. A lot of them are, anyways. Outperforming, right? Dow hit all-time highs. I think it closed close to all-time highs, and as we said last week, we saw the double inside week. It had been coiling, right? It was coiling. There was nothing going on in the Dow this past week here. Double inside week, pow up to the upside. There you go. There's your move on the Dow. Closes the week deep in the Bollinger Bands. Momo up situation now. Look, outside, inside, and up. On Tuesday's tricky though, because it comes back in and stops out anyone who can or tries to, anyways. Anyone who got long in the sequence. They do the reversal again, goes Momo up. Now you're doing the Bollinger Band walk. How far does this thing go? Right? That's the question. Is again, the Momo up moves. Once you get deep in the Bollinger Bands, you can say, well, this thing's oversold. I mean, overbought. Is it? Remember, we don't fight momentum, right? Because momentum can always go a lot further. Then you can remain solvent. So that situation, we just basically follow the momentum to see how far it wants to take things. And right now, it's going Momo up. The reversal, for it to be significant, it will have to be like this. On the weekly chart, this would be something I'd be eyeballing. Is this can price somehow go inside our bar up and break back below again here? Even with that happening, it doesn't even break the trend. So that's just stopping out some shorter term players. Even with that, I still think you have a huge uptrend here in the Dow. Just take a look at that trend, and so long as you keep that quarterly bar green, it's that blue line there, as long as it stays above that, we're going to see dip buyers. We're going to continue to see dip buyers until that quarterly open gets invalidated. So yeah, for now, don't fight that trend in Dow stocks. That thing is going higher, and you can see that in the individual Dow names. Like, open up your charts and bring up all the Dow stocks, those 30 stocks, go through them. They look strong. So yeah, I think this rally can certainly go higher, especially on higher commodity prices. Let's now go to Russell, because that was one of the weaker indices, and we did get a reversal on the weekly chart as well. But by the end of the week, people did buy it back. So Russell, though, still doing a lot of nothing for the most part. Right now, double inside month, right? So there's your month of April, inside month. So far, May, inside month. Not going anywhere too fast right now. All right. And so even though we did get the reversal, the price reversal here, because last week it gave a shooting star, we were watching that, right? We're like, okay, here's a shooting star. The issue with the Russell is that you had the quarterly open right there. If price could somehow close below that quarterly open, that would have been very, very positive for the sellers, because that would have been they would have been able to keep that quarter red, and you could have seen more shorts pile onto that trade. The fact is that the buyer stepped in pretty quickly to protect that quarterly open and kept it green. So now we got that situation where we'll redraw our ranges here, but there you go. This is trading with mixed time from alignment once again. Look, there's your orange purple line. That's your monthly weekly open, and there's your blue line. That's your quarterly open. So that's a mixed time from alignment. So on the daily chart, it looks like that, right? So for the most part, we saw selling all week. Then on Thursday, Friday, just like we saw on the SPY, people stepped in and bought that dip. And look, they defended that quarterly open right there. See that blue line? If folks aren't looking at that, they don't understand that level, what that is. That's the quarterly open. That's significant. You can see that. Here's the purple line is the actual 50-day moving average. That's significant as well. But you can see that quarterly open. People, they're defending it, right? They're literally closing like 1 penny right around that level. You can see they're tagging it, and people are stepping in there to either sell or buy and make that play there. So that's an important level there. So like I said, already with some of the other charts, you're stuck in this little box. That box right there. All right, there's your quarterly open in blue, and there's your weekly, monthly open in orange. For me, it's do a lot of nothing. Until I can break above or outside this little box, I'm not gonna bother getting chopped up or try to fight that chop when there's a lot of easier stuff out there to be trading. Okay, let's go TSX. TSX, guess what? With commodity prices the way they are, is it doing well? Yes, sir. TSX now, is it 7? Yeah, 7 months of higher highs and higher lows. Oil prices going up, good for TSX. Gold prices going up, good for TSX. That's basically all you need to know. We did have a small reversal, right? Because we had a big shooting star here. Kind of a hammer, shooting star, you could argue. By the end of the week, they fixed it. Turned to a not Momo bar, but an outside bar to the upside. So, they fixed that chart. Now watching to see what happens with this outside bar. Okay, TSX, expect more highs here, especially if this commodity cycle continues to play out. Let's now go to emerging markets. Emerging markets, I've been watching. It was slow. It's been slow to play out, but the buyers keep stepping up when they need to and fixing the charts. So, we had a lower low here for the month of May so far. It did break below last month's low, but they repaired it. Look at that. So they're up, trading in the upper end of last month's range. And you see this big broad information that I drew. I'm on the monthly chart here. That big broad information that I drew way back, that goes way back here. You see how we're sitting there now, and we keep tagging that upper trend line. So that's called broad information support. And so they're tagging it, right? They're tagging it. It's coming in. People are defending that area, and they're holding above there. So that's positive, because if you break above there and close below there, there's a chance you come back into the range again. But so long as you stay above there and they're defending it, yeah, you got to have that bias to the upside on that monthly chart. Weekly chart, small price reversal, but they repaired it, as I mentioned already. And by the end of the week, it closed week green and looking like a hammer. And so now, green month, green quarter, green week, looking positive for continuation on that EM chart. Because this is the bigger price pattern. Like, this looks choppy, right? I don't know if you can see that, but this is just basically chop. Can you see all the overlapping bars? Everything here is basically like they're closing all inside of this bar's range. So as I've been showing, you can pop out and look at that on the monthly chart and see it is actually in fact consolidating sideways. You can do something like a 2-week chart and you can see the inside bars. But what I don't know if you can see is this. I've been pointing it out already for a while, but it's the Momo down that got extinguished here, right? So this goes inside bar up. This Momo down gets extinguished right there on this bar. And now, even though the outside bar in this past week we had a lower low, creates the outside bar. At no point did this low get violated. So this pattern is still playing out. That pattern being they're trying to take out that pivot high, which would put EM back to all-time highs. So that ultimately is the pivot they're going after, that pivot there, and that would create, if they can do it, this bigger broad information there. So let me just draw it in so you can see it. But it's going to create that higher high. So we'd see if and when that higher high gets taken out, that'll be a high that's lower than that high, and then once this guy gets taken out, that'll be a higher high. All right, so a series of higher highs happening on EM. So slow to play out. It's going very slowly now. But we do know though, we got that outside bar on the 2-week chart, and let's see how that one plays out. All right, let's go TLT. All eyes continue to be on the bonds. Right, so the bonds, we had a higher high this past week, but and the bonds have been, frankly, I think kind of surprising. I'm not sure why the bonds were rallying this week. Although rally's probably kind of maybe an overstatement. It just wasn't losing any money. It wasn't going down like we saw in previous weeks. For now, though, I've been saying, how are bonds going to clear the prior month's range? Because the bonds have not been moving that fast, and even more so, how's it going to clear last quarter's range, because really you have to expect a huge bond move to get out of a last quarter's range. So right now I'm watching to see we could very well close inside month here. Inside quarter, maybe even inside month if it keeps going this slow. So far this past week we did get a higher high, meaning this week's high is higher than last week's high. So we do have a Momo up situation here. That is interesting, but unfortunately they gave it up, right? So that means that by the end of the week, close right back on the range again, and now we're looking for a reversal. If bonds breaks below this past week's low, that's an issue, because that's a Momo up reversal short, and then you're gonna go after that pivot. That'll be a red week, red month. Unfortunately, it's going to be still a green quarter. So it's a bit of chop there. This is why we don't have time frame alignment on our sides yet. It doesn't make the trade as easy as we had, when bonds were trading with full time frame alignment back here, right? Everything was red weeks, red months, red quarters. Here now, it's chop, right? This is why we're seeing this chop here, because you have these mixed time frames going on. So a little tricky there. Although this is full time frame alignment up right now, right? On the TLT chart, up, because it's above. This here was week, quarter, month. This is issue here. It's coming week is if you break below there, you're gonna get a mixed time frame, and it's gonna get tricky. So we do have the outside bar though on the daily chart. So this is what I'm gonna be watching for: is how do you break this outside bar on TLT? You break below this past week's outside bar on Friday, you can come back down there, maybe create that Momo up reversal short on the weekly chart. Again, maybe people are going to pick it up because the ranges are super tight. You can see the Bollinger Band, it's narrowing right there, right? It's narrowing, and so you could very well see this thing come down, tag the lower Bollinger Band. Maybe see buyers, if you can't do a Bollinger Band walk, see buyers step up again to try to defend it. But yeah, it's not going a lot of anywhere right now. It's consolidation city, as we know by that monthly chart. That monthly chart's telling you everything we need to know right now, sitting inside the monthly range. Now, the surprising chart that really surprised me is gold. So gold futures really having some good moves here, and a lot of these gold stocks and silver miners having some really good moves. And so in my mind here, as I've been kind of thinking this through over the past few weeks, is how does gold get outside of the prior quarter's range, just like bonds, right? So gold though, it's already up 6.74% this quarter. So this month it's already up 6.74%. You got to break above 1962 though to take out this range. Okay, but guess what? Look, if we can somehow go inside bar down, back up again, that's an inside bar reversal. That will be a continuation move, and we'll see gold. That'll be a continuation move that's uptrend on gold. So that would be very, very productive for gold if that happens. So on the monthly chart though, we do get the reversal, right? So we have 2 consecutive months now of higher highs. Right, so that month's a higher high, and now we have a higher high this month. Okay, so we're slowly grinding upwards. We're only at 1831.30 right now, so we still have a lot of ways before we can take out the last quarter's high. The weekly chart though, pretty productive, right? So last week we had a bit of a pullback. We did take a bit of a haircut in gold there to the tune of minus 0.57%. But this week was up big. It was up 3.6%. That's a very good week for gold. And this is kind of based off of this pattern here, the inside bar reversal, down and up again. And right now I'm trading with full time from alignment to the upside. So not sure why, gold and obviously bonds are trading in a correlated fashion. So long as the real interest rates or real yields continue to head lower, that's good for gold. So long as TLT keeps heading up, we can expect gold to head up as well, and that's kind of been the relationship that's been in play right now for the last little while. So let's continue to watch and see. And it's tricky, right? When you play correlations. Sometimes you're looking at the dog, and sometimes the dog wags the tail, and sometimes the tail wags the dog. And sometimes you don't want to assign too much weight in correlations because you don't know which ones are going to be wagging who, because they're not predictive. Correlations are not predictive. So it's just a matter of putting together all those puzzle pieces and watching to see if these narratives and if those correlations stand up. So for now, the correlations are still very, very strong. Gold and TLT correlated, along with the equities markets. So keep watching for that. And in order for gold to reverse, it would take quite a bit. You'd actually have to break below this past week's low, right? And that's quite a big move there. So watch out for that. Something negative, really negative, would have to happen for this week's gains to be given up. If that did happen, that's something you definitely want to know. If somehow gold loses this week's gains and does a reversal and takes things, turns this green month into a red month, that would be significant. That's something you definitely want to pay attention to. So for now, gold a very, very nice week. Okay, so let's now talk about digital gold, BTC, as BTC took another bit of had a bit of another, kind of a rest week. Didn't do a lot of anything, but that's been very productive for the altcoin space. As most traders who've been trading the crypto space know, when you're fast money, when Bitcoin's not doing much, you rotate to the other altcoins. That's the way. That's the playbook. So this past week, Bitcoin continues to take a bit of a breather. So for now, and I think it's probably going to get stuck here, is that we got an inside month right now on Bitcoin, right? So not doing a lot of much, and that's fine. If we just get consolidation here, sideways consolidation, that's basically working off this extended move to the upside. We could just consolidate for a couple more weeks and then get a really significant, continuation move to the upside. So for now, inside month on BTC. So what that looks like is this. We're slowly making our way up this pattern. We had a Momo down situation here on the weekly chart that got extinguished here, and now it's working its way back up to that prior all-time high, 64,829. Just very, very slow going here now, but the price action itself and the fundamentals and the continued news flow coming out continues to be very, very positive. So let's redraw our ranges here now. We want to see if there can be a price reversal. You would need to see this past week's low get taken out. So 52,960, assuming we don't take that out by the end of the week, that would be the low you want to watch for to see if there's going to be a reversal on the weekly chart. Ultimately, this weekly uptrend remains in place until that low gets taken out. That's the monthly low. That's 47,112. Okay, but for now, that is the pivot that everyone's going after if this thing can continue to grind higher to take out that all-time high. So Bitcoin right now, it's actually the last few days has been pretty positive because it actually, it managed to break above the monthly open, and that had been resistance for a while now. People didn't see the monthly. I think people were questioning, well, why isn't it breaking above 57, the 580 area? Well, that's the monthly open, right? That's the area it's having a hard time clearing because some of the sellers want to keep the month red. Well, finally here on Wednesday, Saturday today, we're currently trading above it, and we're trading slightly above the quarterly open. So this is significant because this is a resistance area as well. You can see we tried to tag it. We tagged it on Monday and it came back. So that's another level. People, they don't know why there's resistance there. Well, that resistance is basically the quarterly open, and that is the 58 800 area. Okay, so now Saturday we do have a current bar that's trading above it, although it would not take much to break below it. We have a Momo up situation here now. So Momo up, and the path the path of strength is still higher. So at this point, until you get a break below a prior bar's low, there's Momo up going on that Bitcoin chart. So not a lot to do at this point here on the Bitcoin. Because I got long Bitcoin here, right, on that inside bar reversal. I talked about that last weekend already on that trade. So no reason to get out of this trade right now. I'm still long it. So yeah, this Bitcoin, there's no new entries right now, because if you enter anything now, you're not going to get good trade location, because as you remember what I talked about in the beginning of the video, good trade location is when you have a place where on the chart you have asymmetric reward to risk. So you're looking for areas where prices, you can put a very tight stop so that you can get a very, very good juicy return based upon the amount of risk you're willing to take. So right now the bars are wide, right, and there's no easy place to jam your stop without chasing, right? So if you buy here on the top of this, that's not a good place to buy. That's chasing, right? So if I simply buy, say it's above this blue line, I'm going to buy it. Why? Where are you going to put your stop? Right there, right down there. That's not tight. Those are not tight stops. Those are wide stops. And those stops are not good places anyways. So this is not even a good trade location, because this is a Momo move. If sellers step up, you're immediately going to see your stop get tagged. So if you do buy those levels, just recognize that you're buying momentum, and that any kind of price shakeout, you're probably going to get stopped out. So for me right now, Bitcoin, there isn't a lot to do as the setup isn't there on the daily chart. Okay, now Ethereum though continues to rock. Ethereum getting close to that $4,000 area. Man, this thing has been on fire. I think it's up 10% for the day. So let's go to Ethereum now. And yeah, Ethereum right here, up 11.5% today. So beautiful, longest thing from I got long on this sequence here on the double inside bar. I've been long from a lot lower. If you've been listening to these videos now, I've been long since way back. I'm holding positions from back in 2020. I still have some trades on from there. So yeah, long-term Ethereum holder here. This chart is looking very, very good. Although again, very, very strong. You have to watch out for a pullback. And people getting in now, it's trickier because you don't have the buffer of profits to buffer a pullback. And you're buying in now. You're buying in at highs. So you can't chase highs because right now you're trading with pure momentum. Right? This is Momo up now deep into the Bollinger Bands. Remember last a few weeks ago I said we would have a Momo up situation here now, and it doesn't look too strong, right? Remember we saw this. The question was, what's going to happen? It's Momo up now. And at this point, you could be a disbeliever, right? You're like, yeah, those bars don't look right, do they? They're kind of doji looking. This last bar kind of looks like a shooting star. If you break below there, that's it for this bull market. Really? Does that change your opinion? Yes? How about that bar? Does that change your opinion? Yes, right? So people are so swayed by price because, they don't realize, what's going on underneath it. But we know that as long as momentum is in effect, you don't fight it, right? You're biased to the side of the momentum because momentum can take things a lot further than you think. So now that we have these two follow-on weeks here, does that look good? It does, right? Now we're getting close to 4,000. Again, 3,000 was a pretty good number when I thought we broke 3,000. I was pretty amazed. Now people are throwing out they're banding out numbers like 10,000 Ethereum, which would be ridiculous. It would be amazing. So. That would probably be a little bit extended, especially if we keep going Momo up like that. That would be a ridiculous move. So for now, you continue to watch the momentum. How far does it go? Well, you watch that range, right? Bar by bar on the weekly chart, you're going to see this coming Sunday night on which side of this range do we trade. Do we go Momo up continuation, meaning we break above this past week's high and it keeps going? Or do you fall back in here and do some sort of consolidation? Or do you break back below there, and that extinguishes both the Bollinger Band walk and the Momo up move, and that would be significant as well, right? So we want to know all the situations there. Even if that happens, you're still gonna have a green month. So there's still gonna be bar stepping up. That's crazy enough to if somehow this thing drops 50%, it comes back in here. At some point, bars are gonna step up again because you still got a green quarter. So believe it or not, you may want to see this thing fall in if you're a bear, but I bet you there's gonna be people who are gonna be buying that dip, It's because even if you drop into here, that's still above 2,000. You have to take way down to here to crack that quarterly open, and that's 1927 area. All right, so Ethereum is still on a very, very strong, very, very strong pattern. Okay, so there's your Ethereum. Let's talk about a few more coins here. So again, Ethereum doing the Bollinger Band walk now. This is you definitely need to watch out for that and see how far this thing can go. So let's talk about the shitcoin index. So shit perp trades on FTX. This is a fun one to watch. And a few weeks ago, this chart was looking ridiculous as well because it looked so extended, and that after this looked really, really extended, right? Because you're going right into highs, Bollinger Band highs, and then you had that Momo up situation, and if you could break below there, that'd be a Momo up reversal short. We got that, remember that? So that looked very, very bearish. Now, how do you repair that chart? Well, you can repair this chart by either going inside bar, or you do a bar that breaks the prior week's high right away. What happened? Inside bar, right? So there's your inside bar. That means the sellers lost steam and the buyers fought back, and they actually created a pretty green bar that closed near the high of the prior bar's range. So guess what now? If you go inside bar up, they're going to go after that pivot, right? And boom. So that pivot has not been taken out yet. That pivot is 10.832.30. We came very, very close this week. I think the high here is 10.793. So again, I think it's only, what was it? Yeah. So 40 points away from taking out that high. So that's very, very close. We probably get that taken out unless something big happens over the next few weeks. So that's how you repair what looks like to be a broken chart. That's what we're talking about, repairing charts. That's how you do that, by breaking the downside momentum and then seeing that inside bar up move. So shitcoin was doing amazing this past week. That means we had a lot of altcoins that were rallying. The big one this week that everyone was watching was ETC. So even more than Then Dogecoin, which I'll get to in a few moments here. ETC had a fantastic rally this past week, and I've been long ETC for a long time. And look at that move. We were up close to 200% earlier in the week. So now it's down to 126. But at one point we were trading at 158. I was hoping we would get to 200, as you got to take profit there, because I thought that's a pretty ridiculous number, and maybe we'd hit it. But right now we pulled back into 126, still long a bit, not a lot anymore, but still long a bit, because I want to see how far this thing goes. Because if you just follow price, this trend doesn't break, this upside weekly chart doesn't break until that low gets taken out. You'd have to go back down to $44 to break this uptrend. So more than likely, it's not going to happen next week. You're not going to see a bar that goes down like that. More than likely, we have to stay inside this range. It gets choppy and goes up like that. And basically, all I do is I just trail bar by bar. Next week, I'll put my stop below the prior bar's low and below the prior bar's low for the prior bar's low until I get stopped out. That's how I'm managing the remaining. My remaining position in ETC. So ETC, fantastic week. Congrats to all ETC holders who had the patience to hold on to that guy, because I don't know if you remember trading ETC back here, but it was not a lot of fun when it was trading that tight. But that's consolidation, right? That's consolidation. You can see that very clearly. It's a monthly chart. Outside, inside. Right? Look, inside, outside, inside. We love that pattern. I talked about this many times already, and that has been money. All right, that's a very easy trade to take because it's on the monthly chart. You don't have to be, a ninja trader to catch that move. That's played out very, very nicely. All you gotta do is figure out how to trail that. All right, so a few more coins, and as I mentioned already, when Bitcoin takes a break, you want to move to the altcoin space, and this tonight, all eyes are on what coin? Yes, Dogecoin, right? So Doge, that's the one to watch. I'll be trading that one. Well, depending on the price action, nothing happens, I'm not going to trade it. But if we do see some moves, Dogecoin's the one to watch this tonight anyways, with Elon Musk appearing on SNL. Maybe not. He talks about Dogecoin. Maybe it pumps, maybe it doesn't. I think there's going to be both sides of the trade available here. Again, this is for a trade. I'm not looking to invest in Dogecoin. But as I talked about last week, all right, we had the double inside week on Dogecoin. How is it going to break? Remember that? Just laying it out last week. Got the double inside week. Correct? How is it going to break? Look, it broke to the upside. Just taking a weekly chart alone, had you just traded the weekly chart, you could have got 2R on a trade that's basically just easy money, right? Like, that's such an easy 2R move. You could have loaded up on that one. It's simple move. You don't have to be, a trader that trades on a really low time frame to get these kinds of moves. This is with very little heat. You're just following the strong trends right now, and that's what we're seeing in the digital asset space, are these strong trends where things just work very quickly because of the momentum currently in the markets. So now that was the easy trade, easy to catch for 2R on that move there. And now what's going to happen tonight? So we have this sequence now setting up the trade. Inside, outside, and up. So that's a Momo up situation here. Not a great situation. This is not a great price structure going into the event. So you really need to see some strong moves here now to continue this thing higher, because this is a Momo up situation. And this could very easily turn into a sell the news type of scenario. Because if we break below this low here, all right, that would be a Momo up reversal short. Now, we still got the monthly and quarterly open way down here. So it's not even bearish. But you could definitely see some profit taking that's going to cause some of these guys to get wiped out. So in a lower time frame chart, that's what I'm going to be looking at. I'm going to be looking at that level right there, that 60-cent level. And maybe looking at these lower time frame charts, like the 6 hour, the 4 hour chart. And I want to be looking for areas that I can get short if we don't see a move play out to the upside, or if an upside move fizzles out. I'm going to be seeing if we can take out that 60 to then fall lower, and we take out something like this low there on the 8 hour, 51.86 area, even further down to here even. All right, so Doge is definitely a coin in play tonight, so we're watching that. This is going to be a fun one to trade if we get some more volatility. Could be a chance again. Again, depends how active you want to be. But definitely could be one of those trades where you can be long and short, and play the ranges there. Okay, so there's your Doge, and just to wrap things up. Again, it has been altcoin season, so I'll just show a few. And remember what I talked about last week, right? When this past couple weeks, we've been wanting to move into the altcoins that were the previous bull cycle coins. So things like Dash and Litecoin, Ethereum, Classic. These are all names that popped already, but still you have a few others that have not hit their all-time highs yet. Like so this past week, Litecoin as well found its all-time highs. So Litecoin all-time highs. Monero hit, I think, some highs. So now still watching some of these other names to play some catch-up. So something like EOS, USD. Right, so look at this one here. You got some range to go after. So let me go on the monthly charts. You can see, right? We're playing. It's a very simple game now. We're trying to get those all-time highs. Okay, so look for these coins that haven't hit these all-time highs yet, and those are the names, especially the names that are the former bull cycle runners, right? So these are all the former altcoins that were big in the last bull market cycle. So EOS, Dash, USD. This one has potential. Dash USD. I trade on Binance and Bitfinex. So I'll pull up the Binance, the Bitfinex chart. Where is it? Dash USD. It doesn't matter. I'll just pull up the Binance one. You get the picture. It's got bad data on this one here, so let me try another one. Dash USD. For now, I'll just pull up. Doesn't matter. I'll just pull up another one on Kraken. Yeah, so we have a lot of range to recover. I said Neo already, so I'll just show one more. Neo USD. There's Neo. Lots of range to recoup there, and even OMG. So lots of names to go after. And if you do your research, find some of these coins that were big in the last bull market cycle. I think these are ones that are worth putting on your watch list. Oh yeah, can't forget Ripple. That's another one that has potential as well. Kind of been doing a lot of churn right now, but definitely keep that on your watch list. So went a little long this week, kind of focusing on the crypto space, because frankly that's where my focus has been over the past few weeks, as the equities markets continue to grind higher, and kind of personally for me a bit of a yawner as they just kind of work their way up on fumes. But if you're not trading cryptos, question to you is why not? That's the space that that's where the smart money has been migrating to. And if you're paying attention to news, this is basically you can argue a pretty generational or once in a generation type of opportunity when you have this kind of volatility. So wish you the best of trading this coming week. As always, if you like these videos, subscribe to it on YouTube by clicking on the subscribe button. Hit the like button if you enjoy these videos and want to see more. You can reach out to me on the comment section on YouTube, or head over to the blog at tradingedge.org and drop a line there. And as always, very open to respond to any questions or comments you might have. I read them all and try to do my best to respond to them. So I hope you enjoy these videos. And as always, do your best to stay on the right side of price and trade well. All the best.